Story 1, Exit 41, Call Box. I volunteer with the Freeway Service Patrol on weekends. It's not glamorous flat tires, overheats, shooing people to the shoulder, but I like the quiet before sunrise. The radio is a comfort. Clipped voices, plate numbers, mile markers that divide the world into neat distances. The first time Exit 41 called me, it was a dead zone. No hazards on the CAD, no 911 hang-ups. Dispatch said, "We got a distress ping from an old call box. Probably a glitch. Swing by so we can close it." Old call box. Half the state ripped those out a decade ago. I pull off at 41. It's that nothing kind of exit. A narrow ramp, a patch of gravel, scrub, stretching forever. My truck's hazard strobes make the weeds into a slow orange ocean. The call box, is there a yellow post with a metal door scabbed with graffiti. The handset inside is the heavy kind, older than me. I log my arrival. I open the door. The handset is already off the hook. There's dial tone. Not the modern sterile hum, this is the old, deep tone that lives in your molars. I say, "Highway Service. Did you call from this box?" A voice answers in my ear my voice. "Highway Service. Did you call from this box?" I look around. Wind buoys trash in the ditch. My truck ticks as it cools. I press the receiver to my ear again. The line breathes. A faint room tone, a scrape like someone shifting a chair. Then the same phrase, the same cadence, half a beat behind. "Did you call from this box?" I hang up. I shut the door. I radio dispatch. Box is unresponsive. Likely line noise. Clear me. Dispatch says okay, like he wants to. Then he adds, "Hold up something else. Just pinged. Same box. New distress." I open it again. The handset is off the hook without moving. Don't tell me that's not possible. You can feel when a thing changed while your eyes were off it. The line hisses and then clicks, and a woman whispers, "I'm at the fence. Please don't hang up." Her whisper isn't afraid. It's polite, like she's apologizing for being inconvenient. "There's no fence here," I say. "Road, ditch, brush. No fence." "You're looking the wrong way," she says. "Face the hour." I don't know what that means until the wind shifts and something metallic sings behind me. I turn, and there is a chain-link fence 30 yards out. I swear, wasn't there a run of it like a boundary drawn by someone with a ruler and no map? A white plastic grocery bag is snagged mid-panel, inflated like a lung. I shine my flashlight. The beam dies 10 feet beyond the truck, like the air is thicker past that. "I can see your light," she whispers. "Please don't hang up." I put the handset against my shoulder and radio, low. Dispatch. Who else is on 41? Negative. You're solo. Any CHP en route? Negative. A pause. You okay, Patrol 23? I'm about to say yes when the handset slides down my shoulder by itself. I grab it with both hands. My forearms gooseflesh like they touched a freezer coil. The woman on the line says, "The hour is wrong. It's always wrong here." My dash clock says 2:17. My watch says 1:17. My phone is dead. It was at 62% 5 minutes ago. The fence hums as if it carries power. The bag on the panel breathes in and out. The call box cord is warm. "Tell me where you are," I say. "Landmarks. Mile marker. Exit 41, she says. "I can see your truck. Your hazard lights flash too slow." I look back. The strobes look normal, left, right, until you try to count between them and realize you can't. The interval refuses math. "Stay on the line," I say. I start walking toward the fence. Gravel chews under my boots. Halfway there, the air turns thick, like walking into a wet room. The flashlight beam shortens to a perfect cylinder. There's something hanging on the fence, a bright little square. When I get close enough, it's a laminated index card, wired through the chain. Exit 41, out of service. The lamination is bubbled like it got hot. Behind the fence is not brush. It's a narrow frontage road I've never seen, running parallel to the freeway, blacktop shiny like a tongue. Parked on that road, nose to nose with the fence, is an old white service truck with orange strobes on top. A yellow call box stands on that side too. A radio crackles from the truck cab, my radio chatter from 10 minutes ago. My voice asking dispatch to clear me. Then the clatter of a handset being lifted. The woman's whisper, "Don't leave me in the hour." My light catches a sliver of face in the truck window. I hope it's mine. I hope it isn't. I back away slow. I talk calm. "Stay on the line," I say. "I'm calling CHP now. Please don't hang up," she says again. And then, very soft, as if close to the microphone, "You can't call out from the wrong hour. You can only answer." I get back to my side of the world. I slam the call box door and hold it shut with my palm like that would do anything. I key my radio and say, "Dispatch, I need a unit with me. Send CHP. I've got a second right of way here. Silence so complete it has grain." Then, "Patrol 23, copy?" Like from the bottom of a pool. Then, "Patrol 23, status? Clear and close," like dispatch woke up. My hazard strobes look normal again. The fence is ditch and brush. An officer meets me 20 minutes later. He's young. He shines his maglite at the weeds, at my face. He opens the call box. The handset is on its cradle. When he closes the door, it dings like a motel bell. He laughs and says these old lines ghost ping all the time. I nod, like, of course. Back at base, I pull the dashcam card. I scrub the timestamp. When my truck pulls onto the shoulder at exit 41, the cam time reads 1:17. It never moves. The entire 40 minutes is 1:17. The audio track is me breathing and the hazard relay clicking. When I step out, the mic picks up a second set of hazard, clicks out of sync with mine, as if another truck is idling just beyond the fence. I keep a habit now. When I pass exit 41, I count between the flashes on my dash. If the number doubles, I don't stop, even if I see a flare stack in the road. I tell dispatch I'll circle back. Maybe that's cowardice. Maybe it's protocol for a road only some hours have. 2 months later, a new volunteer found a laminated card in our supply bin. Out of service, bubbled like heat got to it, with 2 holes punched through as if it had been wired to something once. He asked where it goes. I didn't answer. I changed the subject. The old call boxes can ping all they want. I only answer calls from this hour now. Story 2, After Hours at Glacier Storage. I took the night manager job at Glacier Storage because it sounded like free money. Sit in a warm office, watch cameras, buzz people through the gate if they forgot their PIN, and do a 2 a.m. The previous night guy left a printed sheet titled "Overnight Notes, Please Follow." If you hear music from Unit 5B after 1:33 a.m., do not investigate. If anyone claims their code used to work, have them try again in daylight. Ignore clapping after 2:03 a.m. If any roll-up door is 1 foot open at sweep, leave it. I read it twice, smirked, put it under the keyboard like a coaster. Midnight is boring in a storage place in winter. Cameras show rows of corrugated doors, yellow bollards, puddles reflecting sodium light. At 12:40 a.m., a sedan pulled in. The driver kept his head low, reversed into a corner out of view, then drove out again. No gate exit ping. I wrote tailgater in the log with a question mark. At 1:17, the music started. Tinny through metal, like somebody's phone inside a locker. A waltz, maybe? Old-timey. I scanned cameras. The sound seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. It's amazing how fast rules you laughed at become rules you hold like a lifeline. 1:33 rolled past. The music stopped. At 1:49, the lobby phone rang. Not the office line, the old payphone by the soda machine. I didn't even know it worked. I picked up out of reflex and got a wall of quiet. Then a woman's voice so close it made my ear itch. "I'm here for my unit. Gate code's broken. Office is closed," I said. "Daylight hours only." "I'm in daylight," she said, affronted. "Can't you see?" I checked the camera feed. The lobby showed me, the phone to my ear. The glass entry reflected the parking lot like a black TV. No one at the door. Outside cameras showed my empty sedan spot and rows of sleeping units. "Daylight," she said again. "You're standing in it." I hung up. I unplugged the payphone. It kept ringing once every minute anyway, a little pre-echo of a ring with no electronics to cause it. At 2-2, someone clapped. Slow. Once. Somewhere deep in the units. A minute later, 2 claps. 2-4. 3 claps. The note said, "Ignore clapping after 2-3. I let it settle my spine into jelly. I told myself a raccoon knocked a broom. I found a broom in the office and laid it flat so it couldn't. The 4th clap came anyway at 2, 5, 4 beats, as if correcting my math. 2 a.m. Sweep is policy. You walk the rows with a flashlight, check latches, make a courtesy noise if you turn a corner in case someone's there. The air had that refrigerated fish market bite, despite the electric heaters humming on the corners. Every roll-up door was closed except D14, which was open about a foot, like a grin that doesn't reach the eyes. Rule 4. If any roll-up door is 1 foot open at sweep, leave it. I crouched, shined my light under, and saw concrete, dust, the tail of a zip tie curled like a question mark. Something exhaled, nothing loud. Just that feeling of space exhaling when a door opens and closes too many times. I stood up fast enough to see stars. On the way back, I cut past Building E, even though it adds a minute. Unit 5, B, lives there. The label on the jamb is crooked, probably from the installer's bad morning. I don't know why crooked labels bother me, but they do. My light hit the number and stuttered, like the paint absorbed the beam. The door rattled once, the corrugation shivering like an animal. From inside, a music box, plinking a tune I almost recognized from childhood when my grandmother wound a tin ballerina that never stood straight. "See you in daylight," I told the door. Like a joke, back at the office, the payphone receiver lay on the floor where I'd dropped it after unplugging. It had dust on the edge like it had been there an hour. The overnight notes under my keyboard were gone. In their place, my own handwriting on a fresh sheet, same header, overnight notes, please follow, and 5 bullet points. The first 4 were the same. The 5th said, "If Unit 5B is quiet after 1:33, move the note back under the keyboard." I do not write tidy like that. I write like I'm late. I slid it under the keyboard anyway. At 2:54, a sedan tailgated in again. Same model, same dent. It rolled past the keypad and breathed up the lane without headlights. I watched it in camera 7 as it pulled to a stop in front of D14, an idled tailpipe ghosting. The driver's window opened. A pair of pale hands lifted, clapped once, twice, thrice, then again, very fast, a round of applause for an empty hallway. The roll-up door lifted an inch on its own, then settled, like it changed its mind. I keyed the PA. The only power I have is a speaker on each building. Facility is closed. You must leave or I will call police. My voice bounced back out of 7 tin boxes, lagging a half second like a badly dubbed movie. The sedan eased forward to E-row, stopped at 5B. The driver leaned out, put something in the unit latch, and slowly clapped 3 times again. The unit door rose 6 inches with a sound like a zipper. The inside was absolute black. I hit the gate lockout. Even tailgaters can't leave when I deadbolt the exit. The sedan didn't move. The dome light inside never came on, no caution, no panic. Something knocked from inside 5B. Slow. Polite. 3 knocks and a pause. 3 knocks and a pause. My phone buzzed. Camera 5 offline. Then 6 offline. The black squares on my monitor grew like mold. I grabbed the big flashlight we keep for show-offs, the kind that can scare an animal without touching it, and jogged into the cold. No people, I told myself. Just places. The night smelled like hot dust and old motor oil. When I rounded E. Rose corner, the sedan idled in front of 5B, driver's seat empty. The unit door sat at exactly 1 foot. The music box plinked the last 3 notes of a waltz and stopped like a spring uncoiled. "Facility is closed," I said softly, because saying it loudly would make me reel in a way I didn't want to be. "Come back in daylight." Something on the concrete pulled backward into the dark under the door, leaving a dry trail like a rope being reeled in. I aimed my beam straight into the foot-high slot. The light came back at me. Wrong, like I'd shined into a mirror for a fraction and the angle lied. My own shoes looked like someone else's for that heartbeat. I backed away. I went to the office. I lifted the keyboard and slid the notes out. I added a 6th bullet in my messy hand. If a car claps, do not answer. I slid it back. The payphone rang, even unplugged. 1 soft ring like a cough. I did not pick up. At 3-7, the exit gate opened by itself. The sedan rolled out smooth. No driver, no dome light, tailpipe breath icing into the night. I watched it go on, camera 1, then on camera 2, then on the public road camera the city runs. On the city camera, it wasn't there. I left a voicemail for the daytime manager that started, "Hey, quick note about the gate logic," and turned into something else entirely. "If you rent Unit 5B, please don't come after 1:33 a.m. I'll let you in tomorrow. I'll smile and make you sign the revised notes so I know you read them. We'll pretend storage is really just about boxes." Story 3. The mall runs 1 hour behind. I clean an indoor mall overnight. Closing crew's gone by 10:30. I clock in at 10:45, put on the radio, and walk loops with a squeaky cart, wiping smudges no daytime customer cares about. If you've never stood in a darkened food court at 2 a.m., you don't know how loud refrigeration is. It's like being inside a sleeping animal. They warn new hires about shoplifters and teens who hide in bathrooms. No one warned me about time. On Tuesdays, I start at the west entrance, past the nail salon with the aquarium, past a dead cell phone kiosk that still glows, to the food court where I sweep popcorn nobody bought. There's a wall clock above the pretzel place. On my first Tuesday, I noticed the clock was exactly 1 hour behind my watch. I made a mental note to tell maintenance. Half an hour later, I passed it again. Still 1 hour behind me. I checked the overhead screen by the escalator. Also, an hour behind. The mall music instrumental versions of hits that once had teeth looped with no announcements. Please take. 1 candy bowl sat on 2 dark counters for a promo that ended last week. At 12:07, my watch, I got a radio call from security. "Can you check gate H13? The gate looks crooked on camera." H13 is a roll-down grill that closes a short hallway used by the seasonal pop-up stores. On the way, I passed 3 directory screens that flickered, and then all showed the same thing. Mall closed. Come back at 10 a.m., with a timestamp that read 11:07 p.m., like the mall believed. H13 was down about 6 inches on the left side, flush on the right, like a yawn trying not to be noticed. I bent to look under. Darkness, dust bunnies, a candy wrapper, tacked by static. Something moved at the far end, a very slow hinge of shadow, like a door finishing closing a long time after someone pushed it. I radioed security. No response, just my own voice, a half-second late. No response, just my own voice. I stood up too fast and knocked my head on the grill. The clatter traveled the whole spine of the mall. Somewhere, a gate answered with a sympathetic rattle. "Hey, a voice said behind me. My supervisor, Joe. I turned and he was there, hands in hoodie pocket, cap low, the slouch he calls his don't startle stance. Joe grins, like a dentist practiced, and tired. Got an extra loop for you. Elevator 3's floor is doing a thing. He walked with me to Elevator 3, talking about nothing. The food court fryer he promised to get degreased. A sparrow that keeps getting in. The elevator doors were open on a black car. The floor inside was wet, but not water wet, like condensation on glass. My sneakers squeaked on the threshold. The squeak came back slightly after. See? Joe said. Yeah, I said. The elevator's panel showed 1, and then, after a beat, 1 again, like it was remembering itself. Joe said, I'll get you a towel. He turned the corner and was gone. I stood there long enough to wonder if I'd imagined him. I radioed, Joe, you on 3? Static, then my voice. Joe, you on 3? I do not like hearing myself when I didn't speak. I backed away, pushing my cart. The mall TVs blinked in unison, went black, then came back one storefront at a time like a stadium wave. Each reboot showed a different hour for a second. 9:03, 3:22, 5:41, and then settled at 11:23 p.m., while my watch said 12:23 a.m. The food court clock ticked to 11:24. Something scraped at gate H13 behind me just once, a fingernail of metal on concrete. The sound ran up my spine and parked under my molars. I decided to take the service tunnel. It's a concrete hallway behind the stores, lined with unlabeled gray doors. You can get anywhere faster back there, but you also meet things you don't have good names for, like smells that don't belong to any store. I pushed the crash bar. The door to the tunnel hissed a sigh like it was glad to see me. Back there, the air is warmer. The hum of refrigeration is a huge hive. I passed the back of the pretzel place. A handwritten sign on the staff door said, Out for lunch. A grease pencil. X crossed it. Someone clapped once, very far away. Then again. Then 3 times. I pretended it was pipes. Joe stood at the far end of the tunnel. He had his hands in his hoodie and his head bent like he was counting floor tiles. Got your towel, he called. The words came late, like dubbed audio. He lifted a white towel by a corner. It drooped wrong, no weight, like it was a picture of a towel. I blinked. It was just a towel again. He waved and turned a corner. Joe, I said into the radio. Can I meet you by elevator 3? Static. Then Joe's voice from earlier tonight. I'm on lunch, bud. Call if you get anything weird. He clicks his mic twice when he jokes. 2 clicks followed. I didn't follow the towel. The tunnel spit me back out near H13. The gate, which had been crooked, now sat perfectly level. A candy wrapper that had been 3 tiles left was now centered like a prop master fixed it. The directory screens around the corner all showed a looping promo for a Halloween scavenger hunt. The date said last year. My cart squeaked like a bird. My reflection in the glass of a closed shoe store lagged me by half a step. When I stopped, it arrived and stopped too. Copy, security finally said in my ear, not answering anything I'd asked. We've got eyes on you. Looking good. That's what they say to reassure you. It did not. I decided to do the most normal thing I could. I sat on a food court chair, took a sip from my thermos, and pretended to scroll my phone. My phone battery dropped from 54% to 39% while I pretended. A sparrow hopped across the tile under the next table, as if to say, yes, some things are still birds. At 1:23, my watch, the mall's clocks all read 12, 23 inches, perfect agreement. The music skipped to a new instrumental track, my mother's favorite song, then tried to skip again and got stuck there, replaying the first 8 bars like it was scratching. Gate H13 rattled, then rose 6 inches, then a foot. A current of cold air slid across my ankles. I could see all the way through the short corridor to the emergency door at the far end. It was propped open with a yellow wet floor sign, like it had been left that way before the mall existed. My radio clicked twice. Nobody spoke. I stood and walked toward H13. I stopped one tile away. In the corridor beyond the gate, something leaned slowly out from the left wall, only the corner of a figure, the angle of a shoulder, and a hat brim. It leaned in a way I understand from people who don't want to scare you. I couldn't see a face. It lifted a hand, palm up, in a wait gesture. "Do I wait?" I said aloud. "Or do I go?" My voice sounded like the PA. Something tossed into the corridor from the right landed at the gate with a clack. A metal lunchbox, dented, rocket ship painted on the side, cold even from a distance. I know that box. I don't. I bent, picked it up through the grill, and it felt heavier than it looked. The corridor was empty when I looked up. The emergency door, a pure white rectangle like a photolight. I did not open the lunchbox. I lowered the grill with the key that only some nights has any effect, locked it, and walked back to my closet office with my squeaking cart and put the box under the desk and stacked catalogs on top of it like paper has weight. At 2:23 my watch, the wall clock above the pretzel place ticked to 1:23. The directory screens updated to the correct date. The elevator floor dried. Joe texted, "Just saw your note, what happened?" I wrote back, "Nothing," and then, "You told me to get a towel." And he sent a selfie from his car with a timestamp that said he'd been home since 11:15. When I clocked out at 5:01 a.m., the sunrise had the color of refrigerated fruit. My car radio said the same minute as my watch. I breathed air that belonged to the same hour as me. I opened my trunk to throw my apron in and found nothing unusual, which felt like a gift. The lunchbox is still in the mop closet under catalogs. Some nights, I hear the tiniest clink from the hinge when the building settles. The wall clock is still 1 hour behind, but only when I look at it from the west end first. I could file a ticket for maintenance. I could leave a note for security. I could put the lunchbox in the trash compactor and pretend metal makes the same sound as paper when it's crushed. Or I can keep the mall's hour and mine separate, like neighbors who nod in the parking lot and never learn each other's names. That feels safer. For now.